Welcome back for another video about Configuration Manager and Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So we did all the pre-requirements for the Configuration Manager. We look at SQL, we look at all the pre-requirements, both on the site server and also on the SQL, and we are now ready to install Configuration Manager. However, there is a little detail that's not known by many that it will help you in the future. So I have a installation of Configuration Manager and some roles here. So let me just show you here. If I open the Windows Explorer, I installed Configuration Manager here on the D drive. You can see here I have Configuration Manager folder, lots of stuff inside. I have some Configuration Manager folder on the D as well. I also have some logs on the C drive, and I have here the E drive with my SMS content library, exactly the same way I wanted. D drive to be the binaries, E to be the SMS content library, and the F drive to be the source files, like I have here. Quite simple. And if I go to server 4, that we are going to look at this server later on, I have also two drives. I have the C drive with 127, and I have the D drive with 50 gig. I want all the Configuration Manager stuff to be installed on the D drive. And they are already installed, but if I open here, it's empty. But if I go to the C drive, you can see here the content library and other Configuration Manager folders being created on the C drive. Wrongly, because I want them to be installed on the D drive. So to avoid this, I will need to use a, between quotes here, tool or a solution to make sure Configuration Manager will only use the drives I want Configuration Manager to use. So in this environment here is not a problem, but you can see here that the C drive is being used, and then shortly the C drive will be almost full, and then, well, the machine will not boot anymore. And those things we need to be aware. Also, if you will look at where, for example, if you install Configuration Manager on the same box as the SQL, Configuration Manager may start using the drives that you put for the SQL data and SQL logs. That also, you don't want that. So what do we need to do instead? So Microsoft has a really good documentation here, and this information is in many locations. So we can see here, install the site system roles for Configuration Manager, and what we are looking here is the no SMS on drive. Because if you read this, is by default, when Configuration Manager install a site system role, it installs files on the first available NTFS drive with most available disk space. So in this case, on my server 4, my C drive is NTFS and has 180 gig free, while the D drive in this example has 50 gig free. So it found the C drive with more space as NTFS, and we will install there. But not just this. Tomorrow or after tomorrow or another day, the C drive will be, for example, 45 gig free, and then we will start using the D drive, and then go back to the C and start playing around with those, and then suddenly you could be in a situation where you don't have space to do anything else. And this does tell you how to prevent this. So you can see here, to prevent Configuration Manager, create the no SMS on drive, on the root of the drive. There is also other documentation. So for example here, the content library in Configuration Manager, we will look at this at a later stage when we talk about distribution point. If I search for SMS, no SMS on drive, you can see here also explain that where you need to create. When I have here install and configure distribution points in Configuration Manager. If I search again, no SMS. Again, there is a big, at this moment here is a green tip to prevent Configuration Manager to installing. And also there is another one I have found here, that this one here is the Microsoft Connected Cache in Configuration Manager. Again, it talks about how you remove certain drivers from being used by Configuration Manager. So, and to create those is quite simple. You need to do this, of course, before you are installing. So if you do this after Configuration Manager will, of course, stop, but what is there is there. Then there are, of course, some ways to move data, but the idea you're going to do this before. So I'm going to start with the Configuration Manager server. Let's assume I haven't installed anything. What I would do is I'm going to create a text file here on the desktop, and I'm going to call no SMS on drive, but instead of txt I will put the extension .sms. So exactly the same as in the documentation. If I go back to the documentation here, you can see here no underscore SMS underscore on underscore drive dot SMS. And what I'm going to do is copy to where I don't want the Configuration Manager to use. Is on the C drive, is on the D drive, because the D drive is only for the binaries, is not Configuration Manager data. On the E drive, I have here the Configuration Manager data, so it's all good. And I have here on the F drive, I also don't want, and I'm going to put there. And I do exactly the same for the other servers. Any drive that we don't want Configuration Manager to use, we put this file. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to reinstall the whole environment here, and I will make sure the environment is actually installed properly, and I will show you the differences. But while I'm doing this, that of course I'm going to pause the video and restart the video after. Just take your time, like the video, share your friends, co-work, so everyone knows more about Configuration Manager. And also, if you have any comments or queries, just leave in the comment section below. Questions, remember to use the hashtag #AskRaphael, so it's easy for me to find out. So I will see you in a couple of seconds. Okay, so created the files. Here on the server 02, I created a file on the C drive, on the E drive, and on the F drive. That's basically the OS, SQL data, and SQL logs. Any Configuration Manager related files should be on the D drive. That's the binaries. On the Configuration Manager server, I did something similar. On the C drive would be the SMS, no SMS on drive. On the D drive as well, because remember that one is more for the content library and not the binaries. The E drive will be here, but the F drive we do have the no SMS on drive. So any extra from the Configuration Manager installation will be on the E drive. And on the server 4, I added on the C drive, and you can see here the D drive, that is small one. For example, I'm going later on there is going to be bigger drive, but you can see here there is nothing. So I'm just going to quickly pause the video, and I will be right back. So now with a properly installed primary site, let's see how the folder structure is now set up. So here on the SQL server, you can see that the C drive doesn't have any files from Configuration Manager. The D drive, we do have a folder for Configuration Manager files, while on the E we don't have anything, just the SQL, as well as on F we have only the stuff from SQL. On the configuration manager we should have something really similar. That is, we should not have anything other than the few logs on the C. On the D, we should have the configuration manager installation files. So we can see here the configuration manager folder. And on the E, we have the content library. Exactly the same as we had before. I didn't change because we used the SMS on drive. This folder here is the extract of the .NET 4.8. So it's not part of the configuration manager installation. The trick was on the SMS, the server 04 that I had installed the distribution point. So if I open here, we can see the C drive now doesn't have any of the folders we had before, because all those folders are on the D drive, where we want those to be anyway. So this actually shows us that using the no SMS on drive.sms will point the data we want to the right locations, and not suddenly the data start to be on the C, on the D, E, F, or whatever space, or whatever drive configuration manager has a space. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, remember to leave your like, share with your friends, co-work, so everyone knows about configuration manager. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And click that little bell icon so you will be notified when we upload new content. But also leave your comments and questions on the comment section below. If you have queries, questions, remember to use the hashtag #AskRaphael so it's easier for me to find. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.